Welcome to Akhand Vidyashram, the first institute of impeccable wisdom, the walking, talking encyclopedia, the integrated autonomic nervous system. My mission, the impeccable wisdom, knowing which everything is fully known. My greatest discovery, Divyank, the divine design of nature, with which the perfect objects are designed and created. Divyank is the reward of 60 years of integrated education. Impeccable wisdom is enlightening, and integrated knowledge is empowering. As a last series of autonomic nervous system, let's review integrated human nervous system once again to understand the importance of this particular video. As I've been saying, all the information from the external world or internal world is carried through the sensory division of the somatic and visceral sensory nerves from receptors to the central nervous system to give all the information, sensory information. This goes through peripheral nervous system, the sensory component. Central nervous system, which consists of brain and spinal cord, does all the evaluation of the sensory input, does the integration and master control, and whatever is decided by the brain to be executed is executed by the peripheral nervous system's motor output. Hence, motor division contains motor nerves from central nervous system to the muscles, endocrine glands, etc. As I've been saying, sensory, motor, and central, these three components form the important part of the reflex arch and reflex action to take care of all the biological parameters of the body to maintain homeostasis and perfect health. There is no compromise on that part. Integration of this particular three branches should be perfect. Now let's understand motor. Motor has voluntary as well as involuntary. Voluntary is connected with skeletal muscles, movement, locomotion, etc. Involuntary is with internal organs, visceral organs, endocrine glands, etc. Involuntary is further subdivided into sympathetic nervous system to mobilize energy and parasympathetic to conserve energy for digestion, rest, etc. Parasympathetic is divided into cranial parasympathetic and sacral. We have already discussed cranial parasympathetic. We have discussed what sacral parasympathetic. We have also discussed about the sympathetic nervous system. Having understood these three, now if you look at this particular picture, there is only one component which has not been dealt in detail so far. And this particular, if you look at the very first picture, you can see 10 triangles outside represent 10 organs of endocrine system or 10 divisions of autonomic nervous system. But within that, I have shown only heart, digestive system, and the uterus. And these three are the one which we are going to talk about much more in detail to complete the autonomic nervous system in an integrated fashion. They are the pacemakers in the heart, uterus, and mindtrick nervous system of the digestive system. Why are these three important? Number one, can we survive without heart functioning? No way. So, heart had to be given additional support to survive, even if it is central nervous system fails, cranial parasympathetic system fails, or sympathetic system fails. We still have a local conducting system of the heart to make sure that we can survive. So what a wonderful design of nature to make sure that we survive. And heart has to be very, because heart is the center of consciousness, is the one responsible for distributing everything which is required for all the 100 trillion cells of the body with the help of heart pumping only. So heart is important from that point. Now the question is digestive system. Same thing. Can we be healthy, wealthy, wise, and happy without water, nutrients, energy, and vital elements otherwise, which are required for day to day, moment to moment functions of the physiology of the body? Come back to the same thing. Digestive system is as important as the heart. As a matter of fact, all the requirements of the cells come through the external world through the digestive system only. From there they are carried to the heart, and heart pumps into thing, and with the help of digestive system and heart we can survive pretty well. Now the question comes, why uterus? What is the role of uterus? Uterus may not have much of a role in male consciousness, but it's got very important role to maintain procreation and continuation of the human race or the race of an organism. Nature does not want living being come to an end. This extinction is not the rule of the nature. Nature has to go on, replace the old with a new one. And for that, uterus plays very important role because this is the center in which the new child grows. And growing of the child is one part, but delivery of the child is much more important. So the child has to be perfect. You have even much more important functions related, the control related to uterus than even digestive system and heart. Why this is even multi-dimensional approach with respect to uterus is something which I am going to talk about. So I think at this is just glimpses of what we are going to see in the coming videos. Okay, now let's go to the next. Genesis, autonomic ganglion, I have already discussed. As I told you, the nervous system grows from ectoderm layer, and autonomic ganglion are nothing but migrated neural crest cells. I'm not going to talk much because I already spoken quite a lot about it earlier. And central autonomic networking is also something which I've already discussed quite a lot. Okay, when we talk of the autonomic nervous system, hypothalamus is the head center, which is further controlled by the insular cortex, which integrates all the information to hypothalamus and below of the sympathetic, parasympathetic, cranial as well as temporal, and then its association with the rest of the brain to bring comprehensive approach. And nature definitely had designed human being to the most evolved creation of nature, most evolved brain. The brain is this. To make optimum use, there are certain processes which ancient Indian sages had developed, and one of them is Akhand Yoga. And with the help of Akhand Yoga, even involuntary components of autonomic nervous system can also be brought under voluntary control by shifting the consciousness from brain to the outer three layers of neocortex and be in tune with universal. You can cut off almost all the disturbing aspects of the mind. That also has been discussed. I think up to this much is more than enough to talk about. Let's go to the next stage. I have spoken about the cranial parasympathetic as well as sacral parasympathetic and sympathetic. Now let's bring both together as an autonomic nervous system, generally what we talk about it. And here you have seen sacral parasympathetic, three cranial nerves, oculomotor, facial, glossopharyngeal, and vagus. They take care of the vital functions of all the organs. And sympathetic just do the opposite of it. If parasympathetic along with the sacral parasympathetic is rest, digest, and conserve energy, I think we are very much through to understand how autonomic nervous system works in unison between sympathetic and parasympathetic. A balance of these two is absolutely essential for perfect health. And integration of autonomic nervous system is important. So I think up to this revision and both the pictures simultaneously, if parasympathetic reduces heart rate, reduces blood pressure, reduces think, waste of energy is reduced, conservation is done, whereas sympathetic is to mobilize things to do better. And design of sympathetic is with Divyank, and so is the sacral parasympathetic, so is the parasympathetic. So that way also very clear कि all said and done, autonomic nervous system is also designed beautifully with Divyank ratio. Okay, now let's go to the next stage so that we can understand it better. As I told you in the beginning, some time back, okay, heart, digestive system, and uterus are the three important parts which are controlled by the sympathetic, parasympathetic, and higher centers. But they are the last components, and why they are the specially designed, I think I already spoken about it. Now let's explain that in a much better way. Heart, the conducting system of the heart has got 10 stages of this. SA node to the nodal fibers, to AV node, to the bundle of His, and the distribution thereof. There are 10 stages. Is it a surprise? No, it is because nature knows that it has to be attended. No wonder in the beginning itself I have shown only 10 triangles going outside within which all these three organs are there. So, 10 parts of conducting system is explained in that. As I've told you, if there is going to be ligation of higher centers, including sympathetic and parasympathetic, and that's what I was talking about, if their control is not there, heart can still function very well. As a matter of fact, you can remove the heart and suspend in a saline water. It can continue to be contracting and carry it from one place to other for heart transplant. It's also the beauty because it has got independent pacemakers to make sure. So it is vital, it has to be done, it is done that way. Then heart rate set by ascent notes. When higher centers are not there or is not affected by sympathetic or parasympathetic, heart rate will be 100. AV node block before AV node, heart rate would be 61.8, bundle of His 38.2, and so on and so forth. But there is also something called ventricular escape. If all that fail, ventricle will still contract, but it will be very low, maybe around 25, 30, something like that. But this also shows very well why heart has been given independent conducting system so that we can survive come what may. Now, this particular picture I have brought in to show why medical science also needs to learn from Akhand Vidyashram more than it has learned from anybody else. Standard cardiopulmonary resuscitation, CPR, you find mouth to mouth, breathing is recommended, a life of kiss is recommended. But it does not work. Why it does not work? Because unless until there is circulation of the blood in the heart, even respiration cannot work. Movement has to be through movement. So blood movement is more important, blood pressure is more important than just giving thing. I don't know who started the idea, but it had to fail because it was unnatural. The perfect cardiac resuscitation is first raise the legs up so that the blood pressure returns to the heart. Venous pressure increases. Why does it help start? Because nature has placed SA node in the right atrium, right close to where superior vena cava and inferior vena cava are close. So stimulus for SA node is not from sympathetic, parasympathetic or nervous system. It is from venous blood pressure return only. This is something which also I am glad that I am able to put across. This is the truth. And we need to literally use things intelligently and bring better knowledge to the world. Then, of course, if some are not enough to start, maybe we can straightway compress the heart, is again primarily to increase the blood pressure, increase the pressure on SA node to restart or AV node to start. If that also fails, I think then we can give electric shock. So now I think it's very clear for audience the importance of heart pacemakers as subsequent control to make sure that come what may we can survive. Even every system fails, it can still function on its own. It will be designed with divine power. No wonder some of the spiritual people even say God lives in the heart. Maybe they're true. Maybe there is something divine in the heart also, which is able to take care of that automatically. We'll not get into that detail now. So, from that importance of heart and survival and resuscitation, I think is very well spelled out with the evidence which I'm sure nobody can deny it. Now, the next one I'm talking about the pacemaker of the digestive system. As I told you, for a normal life, creation, sustenance, and maintenance, water, nutrients, electrolytes, and other vitamins essentials are required. Otherwise, life cannot be there. I have over and over said, Amrit, nectar is nothing but water, pure water. Pure water along with electrolytes, nutrients, and vital vitamin absolutely essential for creation, development, maintenance, and sustenance of health. So that way digestive system is as important as heart. I have already spoken about it. Now pacemaker for digestive system is in the stomach, you can see right on top. And that sets in the motion called peristaltic movement. As you can see right now, I have already spoken in earlier also that we have meyenteric system which is further connected with sympathetic and parasympathetic. Whether sympathetic is working or not working, meyenteric system can still work to make sure that digestion goes on, absorption goes on, and person can survive only when he's unconscious otherwise. So that is the importance of digestive system. Pacemaker, peristaltic movement is also very well explained here. How beautiful is the divine design to make sure, come what may, if everything fails, local government will make sure that we can survive. So importance of digestive system in health or in creation, development, health, sustenance and maintenance is very important. And role of heart to all what we get from this digestive system to be distributed is done by heart. And heart is always as closely associated with lungs. They are controlled simultaneously by the cardiac plexus of sympathetic as well as cranial parasympathetic. So from that point, I think is very, very clear that the role of heart, lungs, and digestive system is important. Now let's explain this particular picture because come what may, we have to maintain or continue the life thereafter. Whosoever is born is going to live and die one day, and the day dies has to be replaced by the new generations. And this process will go on, otherwise world will come to an end. And nature does not want this divine drama of nature, creation, development, and maturation to end, which is Divyang. From that point of view, this particular picture plays very important role, and the responsibility of carrying forward this procreation, I am glad, lies with women folk rather more than the men. They have been given this responsibility. I think they do much better, and this system is also now designed so well. I would like to explain how beautiful is control of the childbirth and why we should allow it to take its natural course and not interfere in delivery of the baby at all. I still remember in medical college A.L. Mudra's thing. Delivery means patience, personification, and wait for the nature to take its course and just keep a watchful eye. Do not interfere. And I am being an old physician, old surgeon, clinician, I would still recommend to everybody nature knows how to do things systematically. Let nature work and least interference by gynecologists and obstetricians. Better by and large. Now, what happens? Now you see that pacemaker, I put it at the fundus of the uterus. When baby is born, developed, just before birth, head turns, head gets fixed into the cervix and starts pressing the cervical canal. And that expands. As a result, signal is created from uterine contraction, pushes the cervix down, head baby against that, then impulse is carried from cervix through sensory component to the brain. Which part of the brain? As you can rightly say, it is a hypothalamus. That picture below is the hypothalamus. And hypothalamus, which goes to the brain, hypothalamus is the one which synthesizes oxytocin. And oxytocin by neurons of the hypothalamus, this is stored in the posterior pituitary, which is called neurohypophysis. Now, when this impulse goes there, posterior pituitary or neurohypophysis releases oxytocin, and oxytocin is a hormone which travels in the blood to the uterus, and what it does is contracts the top of the fundus of the uterus, not anywhere else, and from there it starts pushing down. It does not contract the rest of the uterine muscles right on top, so that everything's pushed. More is pushed, more cervix dilatation, circle goes on again and again and again till the delivery takes place. So now here, how beautiful is the design. For delivery, it is not only the local government, even everything else would have done, can still carry the information to the brain, and brain can bring oxytocin posterior pituitary and release it and done. So I'm sure now things are very clear why I have put these three things which are given in the extra part of the autonomic nervous system or nervous system, which has not been given the kind of importance, but I know this has to be explained to the students and to the doctors so that next generation understand better things and has a better health by and large. So I'm quite sure with this video we have come to the end of the autonomic nervous system, how integrated it is, how beautiful it is, how are different layers. To sum it up, number one, there are not 8 lobes of cerebral cortex, there are 10 lobes. Insular cortex has got two lobes, left and right, which is the central autonomic nervous system. Autonomic nervous health center is hypothalamus, then brainstem, and then cranial parasympathetic, sympathetic, and sacral parasympathetic, and further peripheral government or local government of the heart, digestive system, and uterus, and that is a complete. So from that point of view, I think I'm literally delighted that I'm able to put across crystal clear words with the scientific evidence which is from medical books, not my mail. Nobody can deny all these pictures because I've taken standard pictures which are used by others, but only thing explanation is different. Coming to the last picture is same thing. So I don't think I need to go into detail in this. but I think whatever I've tried to explain makes quite a lot of sense to me, and I'm sure it will make sense to almost every doctor, every medical student, and I'm sure every human being who's interested in leading a perfectly healthy life on their own. And I've been saying from the day one, unless until we start understanding our own anatomy, physiology, biochemistry, and psychology, we cannot be perfectly healthy. We have to be full charge of our own life. We cannot depend on doctors or other people to lead us. From that point, I leave it. I've done my bit in this. So thank you very much for listening and all the best.